welcome to our 13th episode of Create, Share, Learn Live. I'm Erin Raithke. Very warm welcome to anyone who was watching us on demand, because this episode is not the most organised episode that we've ever had, but as I was just saying to my lovely co-host Ben Isles, perfection is the enemy of completion, so let's just roll with it. How are you doing, Ben?
Oh, good. I just had the weirdest cough sneeze thing in the middle of as soon as you said brace yourself.
That's the reason I'm laughing. Like the instant that I said, okay, silence on mics, we're going live. 3, 2, 1. Poor Ben just went
and it just started to come from the bowels into the stomach, up the throat.
Yeah. Like from the vicinity of your toenails, right?
Exactly.
Like that's where the cough came from.
Exactly. Yep. I actually think it came from deep within the earth. That was weird and disgusting.
If the Mines of Moria were a thing, that's where they came from in real life.
Oh my gosh, why am I sipping tea live? It is way too risky given my age and how little control I have over my body this morning.
I'll join the danger zone with you, man. Except mine is just some cool, refreshing H2O. So,
nice. Otherwise, you're well.
I wasn't organised enough to make myself tea. So for those of you who might have noticed, this is not the first Saturday of the month yet again. Whenever we change our target for when we're going to do our episodes, life comes up and we switcheroo. So thank you for joining us yet again. So this is going to be a shorter episode today, but because again we have commitments that we've just slotted everything in between. That parental life is real. So what have you been up to lately, Ben?
Well, my favorite thing I did since I last saw you was we had a big Mother's Day palooza. We went out to a campsite. Well, not campsite. We went to a caravan park beside the Hume Weir at a place called Bona, which is a great name for anyone who doesn't live in the area. And
you were mature giggling.
I know, it's sarcastic. And then we stayed there with my parents-in-law. We had a bit of just the usual stuff of walking down to see the weir, barbecue, lots of taking photos in the morning, that kind of stuff. It was good. It was good. Just good, clean, fun wandering around a caravan park. That was me. What about you?
Well, my Mother's Day was pretty low key. Basically the obligatory breakfast, got served coffee, which was lovely, very carefully carried by a tiny person.
Nice.
Who's holding the tiny coffee cup, and I'm just what's she going? You're doing so well, darling. She's on the carpet. She's on the carpet. She's on the carpet. No, it's fine. We have stain remover. It's fine. Don't freak her out. She'll start to shake. But no, it was really, really good. Got to spend some time with my own mum. We did a high tea. We were fancy ladies.
Well, that's very fancy. Yeah.
Of course, because my little is little, the amount of help could dubiously not be described as helpful. There was just a lot of blowing through, asking if cake could be had yet, trying to grab things off of the high tea trays.
Yeah.
As you were trying to put stuff together and on the table. But yes, it's just the general chaos that only small children can provide to any pre-planned event that has a modicum of organization and timing to it. So it was good. It was good. There was tiny sandwiches had. And
nice.
I didn't, for once in my life, I did not ridiculously over-cater my side of the catering, which is a problem for me. I have an over-catering problem. It's genetic. my Oma was the same.
But hey, it's better than what is it? People like you say, better to have too much than not enough.
Yeah, except if you're still trying to figure out what to do with slightly stale cupcakes 2.5 weeks later because there's no room left in the freezer.
Can you make cupcake breadcrumbs? Yeah, that's tough. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
So no, it was lovely because it's one of those days where you try to make things nice, but then obviously just accepting and absorbing the chaos that is having young children in the house is always the most important thing, to not freak out.
That's it.
Because you find icing ground into the couch.
Oh,
And other such fun things. That's why a wet vac is like an essential household item in my house.
I think that's an investment for everyone. Sometimes I think we should just get, those the outdoor the wet vacuums, like the ones by like Makita. I don't understand why we have an indoor vac. Like, why not just?
I think that when you have a child, when you take them from the hospital, there should also be a box that arrives in your door that has a wet vac, and some like household items that you don't need. You can do it the hard way, but they definitely make your life a lot easier. But anyway, enough about parental mess stuff. Shall we get into our wonderful, fantastic, stalling because I'm trying to find the submenu that has the video that announces that we have news.
Saturday morning news. Love it.
Saturday morning news. Welcome
Saturday
to
morning
the
news. Latest news.
The latest news. Did you want to start first, Ben?
Sure. I'm going to push some buttons here to share my screen. Oh, allow. Oh, Google's asking for permissions all over. It's neat.
Here we go. Some nice lo-fi background music for our news.
Isn't that is lovely. All right, so let me have a look here. Can you see my screen if I press this button?
And drum roll, please.
Can you try and add my screen to the stage, Erin? There
Done.
We go. I can't do presenting things today. Anyway, it's all good.
Oh, that's fun. At least you can add your screen. We're all good then.
So this story, I wanted to come with a totally different story today. And then last night, actually this morning while I was having my first cup of tea, I read this. It's a sad story, but if you like serious photography, it's kind of like one of those huzzah moments. So,
I was right.
So, what's happening is a whole bunch of smartphone photography has led to a big problem in tiger reserves in India. The issue basically, I've done a little AI summary up the top for our viewers, but because there's so many people with smartphones that can broadcast locations, people are posting instantly on social media, via stuff like stories, and I don't know what's the latest thing on Instagram now is a snap or something. You just send a real instant
unfiltered
thing.
Yeah.
Here I am right now doing this thing. Snapchat's built off that, all that kind of stuff. So we're having these big problems in tiger reserves where people know exactly where they are all the time and they're just being constantly followed. That's leading to, really big problems for the tigers, as you could imagine. I just want some peace to, scratch and lick myself. Plus,
not just to mention the inherent danger of endangered animals being able to be geotagged by anyone at any point in time.
We get into nefarious stuff of people that don't want them alive. They want them for other reasons. And there's also, stuff like all these tours are just getting absolutely jammed up. So, anyway, there's been a ban. Can't take your phone. The details in the story, which I think is a pretty cool thing. But dedicated cameras, things that take photos with intention, have big lenses or little lenses, but like an actual camera, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, compact, still allowed, still ready to be able to be used, because there's usually a little bit more of a delay or intentionality between taking it, downloading it, posting it, that kind of thing. They're good, and for me, that's great because you're going to get better photos out of these things anyway, because you're going to have longer lenses to reach, bigger sensors, better autofocus. To me, it's an all-round good story where the photographers and the animals win. And that's my news share today.
Yeah, well, it reinforces the principle, doesn't it, that which is observed is changed through the observation. So if you have these animals trying to just live their life, And I understand that people want to have the opportunity, and I guess that's an entitlement thing as well, isn't it? That I've paid good money for this tour. So if I can be guaranteed being able to see this animal, sorry, in inverted commas, this is like that I have experienced, you know, and I've worked in tourism and have had the organic experience of having a pod of wild dolphins, including a calf, swim past me unexpectedly when I was just taking out a young person on a Discover scuba dive. So we weren't deep, we weren't far from shore. It was a one-on-one experience, but because they were not a qualified diver, I didn't have my camera on me. So I'm watching this beautiful pod of like slightly, like then because they weren't pretty dolphins, they were wild dolphins. So they were like scarred up and gnarly looking and were giving us like super side eye as they were swimming past, but I didn't have my camera on me. For safety, you can't have your camera on you when you are taking out an inexperienced diver. So I just had to enjoy the moment and watch them go past. And that in and of itself was magic, because it was like there was no guarantee of that happening. And it was the first and only time I'd actually been in the water when one of the wild pods had come that close.
Yep.
It was as though they knew I didn't have a camera.
Yeah. That's a special thing. I bet they did.
Yeah, the spontaneity is special. Whereas, animals on demand, like if that's the experience that you're after, that's a zoo. That's what a zoo is.
I mean, tell me about it. Yeah. I mean, look, we go in circles as photographers on, well, I want a photo of that thing. But if you're, if your photo is going to be like, where you want to be, I think, is your photo is adding something to the story. You're not just getting another photo of the same landmark or the same animal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that is the thing, like aquariums, zoos, all of these things educate and create interest in the next generation for them to be inspired to become, conservationists and people who work to, have breeding programs, create, fundraising for protection to restore coral reef health. Like there's so many applications where the observation is an important part of education. But I support this. I think that this is a great idea. And I say that as a person who predominantly uses my smartphone to take photos now, because it's just so gosh dang convenient.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a sacrifice that I would definitely be willing to just completely take on the chin as someone who loves animals and loves the idea of seeing them in their natural habitat. And maybe if you go and you pay money for a tour and the animals don't happen to be out that day, then that's just normal life. I think, in today's economy, especially, people are very used to convenience and a certain guarantee of what they will and won't get. I think that's probably an important lesson, resilience, that just because you pay money and you go to a place doesn't mean that you're guaranteed the experience that's on the brochure. So.
That's true. Well said. Let's leave it there, Erin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the share.
So my little news share is a bit of a news share as well as a skill building. So let me just share my screen.
We are really packing in the value in a short time.
Absolutely. Now mine is a short share because identity theft is a very scary prospect, right? Now, since our last episode, there has been data breaches with Canvas that have been well publicized. The company opted to pay the ransom to try to do what they needed to guarantee the deletion of the sensitive data, because when school systems are hacked, there is a very real and present danger for students, particularly those who might have custody issues, domestic violence issues. So there's a bit of debate that I was noticing. I'm not going to put those articles up here because they're a moot point, but there was discussion about, the company is just making themselves a target by paying the ransom. Whereas I'm like, if there is such, you do not make the already vulnerable more vulnerable by taking a hard line and refusing to pay money to fix the problem. So I'm glad that if it means that student data is protected, then yeah, pay that ransom, right? Like, it is what it is. But there are things that, you know, as a person who is online, you hand over your information. It's not like you really have much of a choice when you're enrolling your child into a school as to whether or not you are giving over your email address, your address information. In Australia, it's a requirement that, you know, you have to prove that you're a part of the catchment in order to get into a local public school. You can't just put your mum's address or whatever. You have to hand over proof of ID. And because that information is being handed over, not to say that is going to then go across all of the school systems, but there is an inherent thing of, it's nice to know when you hand over your data, if it does happen to be used elsewhere, who might have leaked that information. So I am creating a little banner here. So the e-Safety Commissioner for Australia does have some really, really good resources that they have created where you can get some recommendations, for want of a better word, of how you can try to keep things under control. You can try to get what you need without just, you know, throwing your information into the ether and going, oh yeah, no, that should be right.
No, I totally get it. It's a great resource. Yeah.
It is a great resource, and I very, very strongly recommend that if you want to learn a little bit more about steps that you can take, like realistic actual steps that you can take to keep your stuff secure, whether or not that looks like using a passphrase and keeping a password tracker that keeps all of your passwords locked up. If you want to take your security solution offline and have a notebook that you write your passwords on. A notebook can be stolen by someone physically, but it can't be accessed by hackers and bad actors overseas because it's completely offline. So there are lots of different ways that, you know, maybe going a little bit more of feeding into Ben's point. Sometimes reverting back to a more analog solution means better security. If those pictures can't be put up immediately and those geotags can't be accessed, they can't find the animals straight away. If you are keeping your password and your security information partially offline so it can't just be accessed by anyone who happens to guess your password, that's a really valuable thing too. So definitely encourage you to check this out. But I'm going to give you like one tool that you can start using today if you have a Gmail account, which a lot of people do. And that is, it won't stop your data being hacked, but what it will allow you to do is know where the data was leaked from, to give you some idea. So it is mostly accepted whenever you have to put your email in for something. So like online shopping is an excellent example. You might be making a one-off purchase and you need the email address so that you get the order confirmation and your receipt and everything, but you don't necessarily, you'd like to maybe know if they're going to then take your data and then use it elsewhere. And like sell your data for advertisements or something, and all of a sudden you start getting bombarded with emails, right? So if you have a Gmail account, this is something simple you can do. And I might just quickly change that text color to something a little bit more obvious.
Nice.
So that's your normal email address, right?
Yep.
Now, what you can choose to do is when you are giving your email away to somebody for something, if you put the plus symbol in there and then something unique, like to that particular transaction. So you want to say plus the company name. So it's like you're buying some swimwear online.
Gotcha.
You can put plus swimwear into your email address. And then if that email address appears anywhere other than with communications from that company, you know that your email address has been either passed on by that company to as a asset that they have sold, or you know that it has actually been grabbed by somebody else and thrown into a system that is then trying to use it to spam you or con you or do whatever. Some systems will not accept an email address that has that plus symbol with a little tag on it. But then what you can do is you can, in your Gmail, actually set it up to filter emails that come through. So if it has a plus symbol and that little name after it, it'll go into a specific folder. It'll have specific behaviors. So, because I don't know about you, but I have had my email address for a long time because I was around when email went mainstream. So I secured the email addresses that I wanted. But it also means that I've had a lot of traffic to that email address over the last 25 years. So this is something that you can do. So you can actually see when people are sending you things, you're like, I've never dealt with this company before. If you start using this now, you can actually start to track where they actually got your information from. And that is a very valuable thing, especially since, like, back in the day, it used to be people that would get your email address and then dump it into things, whereas now it's bots. And bots might not necessarily notice because they don't think, they just run programs. It may not notice that you've got that little tag in your email address and that you're using it for something to keep track of where stuff is. So as these things get more sophisticated, obviously it isn't a guarantee, but it is one way of you knowing what people are doing with your email address when you give it to them online.
Very nice.
So that is my main share for news.
Well done. Love it.
So,
Feeling safer already.
So safe. So toasty and safe and warm. So what we might do next then, Ben, is we might go back over, because it's the fun. I am still getting used to the differences between a Mac and a PC. So
Oh, stop it. You're in love. Come on.
I'm loving it, but my brain is going, no! Scrolling down means scrolling down, not scrolling up. Why is it opposite? So what we're going to do now is quickly go into what is my favoritist segment. And I'd love you to go first, Ben, if you don't mind. Because we are going to launch into... Wait a second. And because I've just discovered we also have sound effects.
Oh, get out. That's so good. That's neat.
So thank you to StreamYard for putting a sound effects panel into my broadcasts. I am going to abuse this terribly.
Yes. Please use it while I'm mid-sentence and all that. That'll be good, just to punctuate.
There is a gong, man. So
yeah, like, you go ham.
Say something profound for me, and there will either be intense applause or a gong.
That's right. All right. Now, could you just put my screen up? Sorry, Aaron. I get
of course,
to present
my friend. Of course.
Today. There we go. All right. Now, welcome back to one of my happy places, the Adobe Creative Suite. And this time around, get in early. I like it. Now, so what I'm looking at is Firefly, and this is the web interface. No, I mean, I'm kind of thinking of Adobe as three big planets. You've got the Creative Cloud with all our Photoshop, Illustrator, yada yada. You've got Express, which is like all of that stuff, but made usable and easy for students and teachers and people on the run, which then you can graduate to the bigger suite if you want, or you spend a nice happy time in Express. And then you got Firefly, which is like the culmination of a lot of their AI tools, which are peppered throughout everything. But here's a nice little, you can just come here and do your AI things. And so I want to talk about two things. One of the things we have professionally, as you start to, I mean, I work in a creative team, so we generate a fair bit of stuff, and we also just make stuff with cameras and mouse fingers and all that kind of stuff. We're pretty good at tracking and archiving the stuff we make with our hands traditionally. We've got archives and things, but the AI stuff, because it's quick and often elements that we build to complement, often are a bit harder to track. So ultimately we want the two to meet, and we have an archive of stuff we've made. But in the meantime, this has been really handy. If you you go to your Firefly interface here, which is basically firefly.adobe.com, it'll take you here. And then you've obviously got all the cool tools down the side here, snazzy. And then the Your Stuff button. Oh, this thing's great because it has your cloud files. It has stuff that's been shared with you. It has projects you're working on. But this little thing here, the generation history, can go through and just kind of keep all the stuff you've been doing. So I've made some photos with Archie. I've done some stuff I'm going to show today. We've been making some music and a whole bunch of just, my life. Here's an Adobe demo I did a couple of weeks, just before Christmas, a couple of weeks ago. Now, if we open one of these, because it's going to lead into what I want to do today, which is talking about making video from not much. So I'm going to jump to this little picture here, which is taking me back to the settings and the prompt I used and the section in Firefly to make it. So I'm in the generate video section. Here's my settings. Here's my prompt. Now, this is a little story about taking photos and then using those photos to be animated. I've done these for fun, but there's a lot of applications where you can sort of use this. We can talk about some of them at the end. But basically what I've done is I've uploaded a photo here of a little Fiat sitting in the street. I was actually I had a proud dad moment. I was walking with Flash and he said, "Dad, see how the colors on the Fiat contrast with the autumn colors?" I was just like,
I saw that on your Instagram and I was like, oh, when you see like a little bits that you're passionate about reflected in your kids, it's an amazing
That's it. Anyway, so that was nice. So anyway, I've uploaded that. I took a photo with it and I've uploaded it here. The idea is I want to turn this into video. So let's go. Basically what I've said is car drives out of frame slowly. And I've made some settings here and we'll talk about them in a minute. But you upload it, you do this, you hit generate. Importantly, you see how many credits it's going to use, because video generation, this idea that we're just going to generate movie after movie and Hollywood's dead, maybe not yet, because it's super expensive, it's super slow, resource-wise. I mean, for cute little stuff like this, or for like bridging or little parts of transitions and effects, yes. But anyway, let's watch my little video, which is a photo turned into a video. Yeah, not bad, hey?
The reflections are pretty good. The tires are spinning in the correct direction, which is always helpful.
Yep. I mean, the car's driving itself. There is some weird little, if you look sort of in this area and this area,
when it's like guessing what's actually behind the car,
there's little bits of flicker and weird stuff going on. But overall, if you imagine it as a little bit of something, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be saying, here's a video I took of a Fiat driving down the street in autumn. But it's like, you're upfront, you're honest. Maybe it's something you could use to create something cool. Like imagine you've got a poster you've made in Express, and it's a static poster on Instagram, but then the car drives out of it at the end for impact. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
One more to show you.
Composition and choice-wise, it's a great learning tool for students who are thinking about getting into, if you're doing a composition explanation of options, then you can show students in real time what it could look like, and then their task is to recreate that in the real world, because like students can't drive the car out of frame. That's not allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is just a photo of Laura's feet on a rock.
Choose. Love them.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through this a little bit more slowly. So the prompt I put in, feet gently shuffle. I just want a little bit of movement. But keep in mind, it's not at the point where I could say, I want this toe to wiggle and this foot to move side to side. It's very hard. You just sort of you're giving away a lot of control with this stuff. So, model land, I've got access to a whole bunch of stuff in here from all these other models. Now that's partly to do with my subscription and access. You also have the Firefly video. Now, anytime you go out to another model, you're moving outside the commercially safe spot. It's on you. So make sure you're doing the right thing. And ultimately, you are responsible for whatever you upload in here to do the work. So if it's not your photos and you don't have rights to them, be a good human. All right. So that's my TED Talk. Now, if I choose Firefly and I bump the resolution up to 1080p, I'm using 500 credits, which is approximately 1/5 of the Pro Creative Cloud credits generation. You know what I mean? I could make an entire Firefly model on that. But you get an impression that it's going to look pretty good. So I'm just going to go VO. Again, it's pretty expensive, but VO Fast is a bit more affordable.
VO went down 100 credits, and then VO Fast, that was like, it went from 500 to 480, just in case you didn't quite spot it, those eagle-eyed people.
Sorry, thank you. And I could use Sora. I don't want to use Sora. I'm still dirty about that app they made where it was just making Michael Jackson eat nuggets and stuff. I just didn't like that. So that's just me.
The X Factor's real.
So I'm going to go with VO, and that's what I used for this. So VO1. Now, if I hit cook on this, it's going to probably take a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Actually, I think it took up to 5 minutes. That's not necessarily a fast workflow. If I had access to Laura, her shoes, her feet, that rock, I'm filming it because it's quicker. But
authenticity is always preferred.
Let's check it out.
But
and watch this. I mean, it's fairly realistic. Those shoes actually don't have the split in the sole, like they don't have a heel. And I'm not,
So the model's a fan of like authentic Spice Girls content where.
And it's like, I have no, aesthetically or creatively, I didn't necessarily want the person walking backwards up the rock. I just wanted a little bit of movement in the feet.
Yeah, because when we say shuffle, we picture just like the feet moving backwards and forwards a little bit, not actual stepping.
So anyway, this is how Google shuffles. So would I argue with this and burn through another, probably 400 credits trying to get it exactly like I want? Probably not. But if you're willing to give away a bit of control, if you just need a little bit of filler or a little bit of effect, you want to splash and you got to put it somewhere. It's an interesting tool to expand your traditional tools. How's that for ending on that, Erin?
Nice. Very, very nice. Because that's the thing. When you're at a shoot or you're doing something, sometimes stuff goes sideways and you can't get the shots that you need. Maybe one of the shoes gets mud splashed all over it. Maybe someone trips and you have to finish the shoot early and you just and just needed this much more. So there is definitely applications for this where if authenticity in the actual production isn't made possible, or if you're using it as a learning tool to sort out shot composition, there is a lot of application for this.
Absolutely.
Used discreetly.
If you want that little bit in the edit, if you're thinking, oh man, I'm just 4 seconds short to make that clip line up with that beat on the song, this kind of stuff can kind of help out. And we've started to see it in Premiere, which is your baby. It's able to extend the clip. It's all based on this tech.
It is.
Thank you, Erin.
It's fully integrated. So wait a second. Done.
I'm having
applause intense.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll take your share off since it's being argumentative with you, and I will share my own screen. Now, just this week, I did a session with Adobe, a free open session about using Gutenberg.org as a source for when you want to have, students, or you want yourself to start trying out some audio production stuff using some of the tools that are available, like Adobe Podcast, but you just don't know where to start or what to start with. Now, I am picking on Gutenberg.org particularly because it is just so easy to find all the stuff. So say, for instance, I've gone there, I've grabbed Alice in Wonderland because I have a small human and my small human loves me reading. Like that is that on my Mother's Day thing where your kid says what they like doing with you. You know, I like it when Mummy reads to me, and I was just oh. But we have had instances, and I also have like a audio player, like a non-screen based audio player. It is a Yoto. They do not pay me. I pay my own money for them, but I really, really love it because it has like a 16-bit screen that just has an icon that appears, and they use like little cards to play whatever you nominate is going to be on that player, which is Mickey Mouse full control. Now, what I'm going to do, and this is something that I've been toying with in my head for a while, is I want to actually start creating recordings of me reading stories to her.
Oh, get out.
Problem.
This is going to be cool.
The problem is, though, is that, and because I'm a copyright girly, I have to be aware of these things for a living, right? If I was to read her favorite Bluey books, any reproduction of that intellectual property and the subsequent broadcast of that is it is breaking the law. You can't just read another person's authored content and publish it online or upload it to a cloud somewhere and just pretend that it's okay, because it's not. Like the person who wrote that has their own audio book version of it. And, you know, Bluey is a great example because they actually have, you know, celebrities and people actually read these books aloud, and they put those videos up onto, you know, the ABC website and the official Bluey website. They put a lot of free resources out there for kids to enjoy these things who might not necessarily be able to get to a local library and get their hands on a copy or have family who can buy them the books. However, if it is something that you are toying with the idea of learning how to do voice presentations, but you don't know what to start with as your source content, and making your own content from scratch just seems like it's too exhausting, but you want to practice, going to Gutenberg.org, and I will just quickly create the banner. So it is Gutenberg.org. So for those of you who may have spent a lot of university fees studying history, like I did, in a postgraduate setting as well, like I did, Gutenberg is a reference to the Gutenberg Bible, the presses that originally, you know, historically helped to start spreading the written word across, you know, Western culture. Now, the Gutenberg website to date, from what I can understand based on my research, is safe. As much as anything that is hosted online is safe, but you can download things in different EPUB formats. So if you have an e-reader, you can download and put these books on there, or you can view them in a browser just like I am right now. So I'm going to do a very, 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 very quick short demo of how I would take this, use Adobe Podcast to quickly record a little segment of it, and then be able to extract this as either an audio file that I can then put onto my kiddo's device so that she can listen to me reading whenever she wants. Say, for instance, laryngitis, go away for work, something like that. Or technically, I could also throw a background image into it and then upload that to a streaming service of my choice, and then start my own little book narration project where I am preserving a version of these documents. Because if we learned anything from the burning of the Library of Alexandria, it is that sometimes books only survive based on people retelling the stories and taking excerpts of it and using it in their own way. The original does not survive, but the reworked version does. So that's There we go. I've now used my university degree not once but twice at a single podcast. Yay
I'm
me.
impressed. Well done, mate.
So let's just go into Adobe Podcast. And I'm going to start with the super simple super simple option of that button, which is record a podcast. I'm going to split my screen out because I need to see the script, but I also need to see my buttons. So let's pull.
Hold down on your green button there, Erin.
Hold down there.
Hold down, and then you can. There you go.
A bonus skill share. Exit full screen. I stuffed it. That's okay.
That's
Exit
right.
full screen. Hold down my button, and that one.
You let go. Yeah. Then go
Yeah.
to the other one.
Oh, how do I find my other one? The pressure.
No.
The pressure.
Where
I
did it
can't
go?
take the pressure.
Go Command Tab. Command Tab. Is it going to bring them up? Sorry, Erin.
No, that's okay. It's all fun.
Do
It's
it.
all fun. All love.
Get all your fingers and swipe up on your trackpad. Do you have a trackpad? Are you a trackpad? There they are.
Don't
Oh.
introduce more things. It's freaking me out, man. There we go.
Oh, there we go. So we have two desks. Erin, you're a power user. You've got two desktops going.
I've got
Nice.
3.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so
You're just better,
we now-
more advanced. I love it.
and see, and that is the thing. This is all a part of learning. Failure is a part of learning because the adrenaline helps to lock in the memory of how to do that. And if I was just doing it on a Windows PC, I would have been totally comfy. But here we are. And I'm learning. See, learning is fine. Not being the
Safe
expert in the
space.
room is also
Safe
fine. So I've got my script sitting right here, right? And because it's a browser-based version, I can obviously set that to whatever reading format I like. So I'm now going to just go into my Adobe Podcast. And let's just go back one step before I was doing panicked noises trying to get my screen to split with Ben's patient help. I'm going to hit that record a podcast button. And I want to hit start recording. Now, if I'm not putting you on the spot, Ben, do not panic. But if I was to have gotten Ben to agree to record this with me and we had worked it all out and highlighted the script and everything, I could invite him either by creating a shareable link that I just flick to him in like chat or whatever, or I could directly invite him through email. Now, one thing that I did confirm during the session when it was live is that only one person can be the producer, the controller of hitting that record button. Not anybody can record. Only the person who actually owns the file can record and then has access to the edit functions in the center of that screen. So let's quickly do this. And I'm not gonna have my face. I've decided it's just going to be the dulcet tones of my voice because the intention is that this is going to be an audio file. So I'm going to hit start recording. Alice in Wonderland, Chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole. Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeked into the book her sister was reading, but it had no pictures or conversations in it. And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? So she was considering in her own mind, as well she should, for the hot day made her feel very sleepy and stupid, whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking the daisies, when suddenly a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her. Stopping it there, managed to get through that without falling.
The best intro, read beautifully.
Oh, it just launches straight in, doesn't it? It's a good book for that. It's a very good book for that. So now I've got my recording. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to title it Alice in Wonderland Audio Book Project. And I'm going to hit that edit button. Now, I have shown off podcast on here before, but we haven't actually gotten into the weeds of adding music. So I'm going to show you how to do that very quickly now. And that is going to be the end of our show because Ben has to go. You've got plans.
I'm sorry. I know.
That's okay.
I'm going to take the kids to hockey and other stuff.
Woo! So I'm
Hockey.
going to quickly remove that little space at the beginning. I'm going to go over to our music thing and I'm going to add in some preloaded music. Now, I am a big fan of their Verona in the intro, and I'm going to add that in because it's nice and short. I'm also going to have some beautiful background music running, and I'm going to add that in using the plus button here. And I'm going to tell podcast what I want as background and what I want as intro music by using these beautiful toggles right here and saying set as background, and I'm going to set fade in. And then what I am going to do is I can then, because I know that this sounds good, but I'm going to quickly also just hit the enhance button, and I'm going to hit the play button. So I can play it through, I can make some edits, and most importantly, I can now export that immediately as an MP3 file, take that and put it wherever I want. And because the actual content is not copyrighted, it is Creative Commons now. It is out of the copyright era that it was restricted by previously. That now means that if I choose to throw this MP3 up onto wherever you get your podcasts, I can take it and add it to a video and create visuals for it and upload that to YouTube. I have no legal problem with doing that because this is an open source, publicly available, thing that there is no copyright over. I'm not going to get a copyright hold put on me on YouTube for taking somebody else's work and using it. And I can use that to practice the terrifying act that is sometimes putting yourself out there, creating something and putting it up online for people to see or for other people to listen to, even if it is within a private scope. So that is me. I'm going to leave that there because downloading things like that is pretty simple at that stage. And yeah, that is it from me for my little demo. So thank you very much for your attention. Where is my gong?
Wow, great. That was my clap. I can't don't, maybe I can. I've only got real folly. I can't do the buttons. It's not fair.
That's okay.
Sorry,
but no, that is all good. So thank you very much for your attention, everyone. Take care. And if I don't see you at some of the professional development events that I'm going to be a part of in the next couple of weeks, we'll see you for the June episode of Create, Share, Learn Live.
Thank you, Erin. What a great show off. What a great tool. I'm just going to do Gutenbergy things and love it.
Yeah, Gutenbergy things. Use those e-readers that are being aged out and bricked by their manufacturers, but that's a new story for another time. Okay, take care, everyone. Cheers.
We respect and honour Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders past, present and emerging. First Nations sovereignty was never ceded. I acknowledge the stories, traditions and living cultures of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples on this land and the lands in Australia that we reach, and commit to building a brighter future together.